In the UK's complex rail network, there's this huge, hidden challenge that's slowing things down. And it's got nothing to do with the tracks themselves. It's all about the software. So today, we're going to dig into why so many railway systems just don't talk to each other, and what a real blueprint for connecting them actually looks like.
So let me ask you, are your railway systems speaking different languages? I mean, think about it. You've got one system for maintenance, right? Another for compliance, a third for operations. And every single one has its own data, its own rules. It's kind of like having a team where nobody speaks the same dialect. You can just imagine the constant miscommunication. If you're in IT or leading digital transformation, I'm betting this sounds, well, painfully familiar.
And look, this is way more than just a small inconvenience. The reality is, many railway operations are relying on totally disconnected software. When your platforms are isolated like this, you've probably heard the term silos. They're basically building these invisible walls all through your organization. And that makes it pretty much impossible to get a single, clear picture of what's really happening.
Okay, so what's the result of all this digital disconnect? Well, we can call it operational drag. It's that constant nagging friction that just slows everything down and makes even the simplest tasks feel way more complicated than they should be. But what does that drag actually look and feel like day to day?
Well, here's the daily headache right here. Let's talk about duplicate data entry. Imagine this. A technician's out there and types a component serial number into a maintenance log. Great. But then, an administrator back in the office has to manually type that exact same number into a completely different compliance report. It's not just a waste of time, it's a massive opportunity for a tiny, critical error to sneak in. And when you add in fragmented data and clunky workflows, you end up with a digital environment that feels less like a connected continent and more like a bunch of scattered, isolated islands.
All right, enough about the problem. What's the fix? The solution really is seamless integration. But let's be clear, this is not just about slapping a few patches on your systems to get them to kind of work together. No, this is about fundamentally rethinking how information flows through your entire operation, right from the ground up.
So what do we mean by seamless integration? Well, the key word here is harmoniously. It's the whole process of connecting all these different software systems so they just work together. The big goal here is to automate the flow of data. You enter information just one time, and from there, it automatically and securely travels to every other system that needs it. Think about that. No more manual re-entry and no more data just vanishing into thin air.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually build those digital bridges in the real world? Well, it turns out there's a pretty clear blueprint for getting it done.
And here it is, the SmartFleet integration process. This is basically the journey from disconnected to totally connected. It all kicks off with custom APIs. You can think of these as the universal translators that let different software finally have a conversation. Next up, secure data mapping makes sure that conversation is translated perfectly. But here's the thing that's absolutely crucial, building it all on a scalable architecture. Why? Because your operation is going to grow, right? And you need a system that can grow with you, not one you have to rip out and replace in a few years. And finally, you've got documentation, training, and support, which is all about empowering your teams to really own this new integrated world.
So beyond just the step-by-step process, there are some core functions that are just non-negotiable if you want this to succeed. You can't just connect things and hope for the best. You have to do it securely to meet all the tough data regulations. You've got to test everything, and I mean everything, meticulously before you go live. This isn't just about getting things to work on day one. It's about building a truly robust, reliable, and future-proof digital backbone for your whole operation.
So what does all this look like in the real world? Let's zoom in on an example from a company called SmartFleet. They specialize in the rail industry. And this is where you can really see how that deep, sector-specific experience makes a huge difference.
Take a look at this number, over 30. That's how many custom solutions they've built specifically for digital transformation in railway operations. Now, 30 plus isn't just a number that shows off technical skill. What it really represents is a deep, hard-won understanding of the very unique challenges you find in the rail industry, everything from fleet maintenance to the nitty-gritty of safety compliance.
And, this approach hasn't gone unnoticed. They're winners of a European Railway Clusters Initiative, or ERCI, Innovation Award. This is a big deal. It's basically a signal from inside the industry itself that this way of doing integration is seen as a leading, cutting-edge approach in all of Europe.
And this brings us right back to where we started. The result of a process like this is the direct answer to all those problems we talked about at the beginning. That duplicate entry, gone. Those fragmented data flows, unified. And that disconnected, frustrating digital environment is finally replaced by one that's genuinely harmonious and incredibly efficient. A connected future isn't just some abstract idea. It's a tangible reality that can streamline your operations, empower your team, and build a solid foundation for all the innovation to come. The only real question left is, are you ready to build it? That's all for this explainer. Thanks for joining.